McDonald's reported a 1% decline in sales, making its first sales decline in 13 quarters. The company attributed the slump to consumers opting for cheaper food options. What the hell are cheaper food options? They didn't really go into that in the story. Chad, put down your caviar and your fancy IPA and let us know what you think of a slumping McDonald's.
Yeah, so, I mean, wait a minute. Wasn't McDonald's the place that you could go eat cheaper than eating at home?
Hide your kids. Lock the doors. You're listening to HR's most dangerous podcast. Chad Sowash and Joel Cheeseman are here to punch the recruiting industry right where it hurts. Complete with breaking news, brash opinion, and loads of snark. Buckle up, boys and girls. It's time for the Chad and Cheese Podcast.
Oh, yeah. One guy in Canada and the other in Portugal. Poutine and calamari for everybody. Hey, boys and girls. This is the Chad and Cheese Podcast. I'm your co-host, Joel Trudeau Cheeseman.
And this is Chad. Stay away from my couch. Sowash.
And on this episode, Indeed calls, ZipRecruiter texts, and Heineken swallows. Let's do this.
Hospitality is the heart of our society. It brings people together to share great food, drinks, and experiences. But successfully managing a restaurant or hotel is no easy feat. That's where Harri comes in. Harri is the frontline employee experience platform that helps you build, manage, and engage great teams. With Harri, managers can easily find and hire top talent, manage timekeeping, and communicate with employees at any time from any place. Candidates and team members can quickly and efficiently apply for jobs, swap shifts, and access important information entirely from their mobile devices. And Harri's robust employee engagement tools make team members feel more connected than ever. With Harri, as an owner or operator, you get a bird's eye view of your business, from turnover cost, labor cost, employee sentiment, compliance risk, and team performance. Run your business better by understanding the power of your people. Because when your team is the heart of your business, Harri is the heartbeat. See how it transforms your business.
So you're in a new place there, Joel. Is that couch pretty sexy?
Well, if you're watching on YouTube, Chad thought this was my back of my chair, which looks like some Dr. Evil Captain Kirk chair. But no, it's an optical illusion that you can see there. But It is. The JD Vance. I still don't get it. You were telling me he was dry humping a couch. I don't know. But then on a group chat, you made fun of me saying that I look like JD Vance. So I appreciate that. I will say that we both, JD and I both perfected the no beard, chubby lesbian look. So pre-beard JD Vance, chubby lesbian just like me. So the beard does do him. Do him well. It does do him well. By the way, the white dudes for Kamala. Were you on the Zoom call with all the other white dudes in the world?
Dude, it was like 2 a.m. my time because I was like excited. I'm like, fuck yeah, I can't wait to get on this thing. And I look and I'm like, it's fucking 2 a.m. I got to work tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, apparently, over 100,000 fucking white dudes raised well over $1 million. Shit ton of black women had their own, white women had their own. I mean, they're really mobilizing in an incredibly smart way. And I think only Obama mobilized like this when we first saw kind of like a social mobilization. And he was really the first president to use the internet, to be able to use the internet to mobilize. And we really haven't seen presidents do that since.
Do you remember Howard Dean, the woo guy? Yeah. We're gonna go to Texas.
Yeah.
So he was one of the first back in the early 2000s to utilize Meetup for politics, and his communications director, I think, wrote a book back in the day called "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised," all about how the internet was going to change how we do politics. And before that, there was a book called Vote.com that sort of theorized a day where we would vote online and we wouldn't go to the polls. Obviously, that hasn't come true. But yeah, certainly some books that have been written and Howard Dean with Meetup.com. But why someone hasn't figured out, let's just have a big Zoom call with supporters and get some celebrities or people to talk about why something is important. And then, of course, make it cute with white dudes for Kamala. That's clever. But yeah, anytime technology is used to mobilize people and politically or whatever, I'm all for it. I'm over the whole big rally thing, and like, give me some technology to get people involved.
So it's funny because Gil Scott-Heron, you might not know him, but he's a singer activist. Yeah. You wouldn't. You're a white dude. He actually he sang "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised." He's a black dude activist. So anybody listening, go to Spotify or go to YouTube and look for "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised." You'll love it. I mean, it's really good stuff. Anyway, sidetrack. Howard Dean, imagine that. Gil Scott-Heron and Howard Dean, probably polar opposites.
That's what we do on this show.
But
Chad.
The Olympics. So talk to me about the Olympics. What's going on? What do you see?
Let's start with the opening ceremonies, shall we? Not a more French thing I've seen in a long time. The Last Supper is getting a lot of heat, obviously, from the usual suspects. For me, the highlight was the Marie Antoinette, like, head off the body singing
that was awesome.
The intro, and then going into I don't know. Maybe you know this band. I'm sure they're popular in France and Europe, but I know who they're like. Metallica, the Parisian Metallica goes off,
fucking awesome,
rocks out, fire awesome. Everywhere. Yes. That was to me the highlight. I haven't seen much of the competition. I know Biles killed it. I know the gymnastics team has crushed it. The U.S. has the most gold medals. That's kind of all I know. I bet you've been watching a lot more closely than I have.
Yeah, because we're at the bar a lot. So first to talk about the Last Supper, because it was not the Last Supper. Why do Christians always have to bring it back to them? Like it's them being, them being the one on defense. Oh my God, it was not the Last Supper. it was not the Last Supper. Okay. It was actually, Dionysus, and it was, it's more on Greek mythology than it is anything with Christianity. So let's just go ahead and get it out there. That's one thing. The Olympics wise, men's basketball, they're on a tear, man. They're fucking killing it. Katie Ledecky killed it last night. She won by 10 seconds. She didn't even break her own world record, but she killed it. The women's gymnastics team, as you said, look awesome. But one thing that is killing me though is that we are getting smoked in the pool. The U.S. usually by now our totals are looking good, but the amount of golds, not so much. We usually have a ton of golds from swimming. We don't. French swimmer Marchand last night landed 2 gold medals within 2 hours, and he wasn't swimming hundreds, and they weren't freestyle. He won the 200-meter butterfly and the 200-meter breaststroke. Those are hard fucking races. He did it the same day. 2 gold medals.
You're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe?
Well, that's awful.
We did. Hey, listener. Hey, I'm seeing here that you're watching every single week. Yeah, I know YouTube, Google, they have these analytics things, and you haven't subscribed yet. I don't know what the problem is. Hopefully, it's probably Joel. I know it's probably Joel, but it's okay. It's okay. He's not here right now. Just go ahead and click subscribe. Click subscribe.
I love it when our basketball team is on a mission. I love when they hear like the international game is catching up, and certainly the national players are great. But I just love it when the good, like when the players show up. I'm sure you've probably seen the Netflix Redeem Team documentary where after losing in the Olympics, like Kobe and company were like, no, this ain't happening next time. And they bear down and do it all. So, I'm glad you're enjoying the Olympics. Have we seen anything on viewership? Is viewership up, down? Do we have any idea? There's a trend that says the kids aren't watching.
I do know that they've set advertising records. So advertising, so the monetization and the revenue side of the house is working. So, I mean, that usually means that they've got some good viewers, but at the end of the day, I don't know. Well, it'll come out in the wash, and it's the Olympics. People watch, so who knows?
Yeah, and as we get further down and the medal rounds and all that stuff, it'll increase. It'll increase,
especially track and field.
Yes, that's probably my favorite event, unless Michael Phelps is swimming and he was just a beast. But anyway, shall we get to shout outs? Shall we get to shout outs from opposite sides of the world?
Shout out somebody else who's a beast, and in a good way. Athena Karp, who was appointed GM HiredScore at Workday after Workday's acquisition of HiredScore back in February of this year. So not to my surprise, because Workday needs Athena more than Athena needs Workday, to be quite frank. Workday doesn't have much in AI and trust, no. Right? And Athena is one of the best in the AI game of explainability and dependability, which Workday just plainly they're just not good at. So congrats to Athena and also to Workday, because they obviously see that they have a winner there. They bought great tech, and they've got a great voice that is now there. So Athena Karp gets appointed to GM of HiredScore over at Workday. Good for both of them.
Very nice, very nice. Do you think Athena likes Halloween, Chad? Do you think she likes a good Halloween?
Who doesn't?
Who
doesn't like Halloween?
Yeah, Halloween may have gone too far, though. My first shout out goes to what's being dubbed Summerween. Summerween. Yeah, that sounds like just a good Saturday night. But no, Summerween is the unfortunate growth of the Halloween holiday into summer. That's right. Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, all your favorite retailers have already put out their Halloween merchandise, and it's not even August yet. I think it's a little too much. I know that we love our purchasing. We love our consumerism in America. But to me, it's just gone too far. You got to wait till after Labor Day to start rocking the Halloween decorations at your favorite retailer. So for me, shout out to the people who love Halloween. But for me, it's just too damn much, Chad. We're going too deep. We're going too deep on Halloween.
So the next one comes from our friends over at hrgrapevine.com. Shout out to Apple unions are apparently paying off. Apple and the union representing retail workers at a store in Maryland have agreed to a landmark deal, the very first U.S. labor agreement, not only for Apple stores, but for any Apple workers in the U.S. The tentative 3-year agreement includes scheduling improvements, pay increases, job security, transparency on the disciplinary process with protections and accountability. Unions continue to have a moment.
Very nice. Unions,
and
not just for blue collar jobs anymore. Well, my next shout out and last one goes to Paul Whelan and Evan Gershkovich. Who are those people? If you don't know, they've been detained in Russia for a year plus. Particularly Paul's been there, I think, almost 5 years. They were put in jail in Russia over trumped up charges of spying and espionage in Russia. Well, there's about to go down the largest multi-country prisoner exchange since the Cold War. Some bad guys are going to be put back into the system in Russia and wherever they're doing their thing. But shout out to Evan and Paul finally coming home. Horrible atrocity on them for being put in jail in the first place. So yeah, a couple rounds of applause there to end the shout outs with coming home and unions with another win. And speaking of winning, Chad, we got free shit, and that's nothing is winning like some free stuff from Chad and Cheese. What do we got?
Yeah, well, the first thing you got to understand is you can't win unless you play. And the only way you can play is if you register at chadcheese.com/free. You can win t-shirts from Aaron App. That's right, Aaron App, the wonderful people who are bringing you those t-shirts that you love to wear all the time, whether it's going to bed at night or getting up in the morning or to your favorite conference. Beer from Aspen Tech Labs. They send craft beer to your front door, Aspen Tech Labs. Whiskey from Tex Kernel, a.k.a. who are they? Bullhorn. That's right. Bullhorn bought Tex Kernel. So 2 bottles of whiskey from Tex Kernel. And if it's your birthday, it's rum from our friends at plum.
Can you feel the tension?
Go to chadcheese.com/free.
I know I can. I can feel it all the way down in my
Plums.
That's right, Chad. Some loyal listeners are celebrating another trip around the sun. Shout out to Wendy Daly, Kim Bates, Christy Kelling, Stephanie Pendris, Michael Malati, Sally Millick, Christopher Cleland, Micah Clark, Joel Stupka, Holly Smith, Mark Coleman, Brendan Crickshank, and Jessica Lee celebrating another trip around the sun. And speaking of T-shirts, Chad, real quick, when I come to Canada, I'm shipping Canadians some T-shirts because I can get that discount because I'm in country. So if you're a listener and you're Canadian, keep an eye on your mailbox because there could be a treat from Chad and Cheese showing up very, very shortly. Very, very shortly.
Very, very nice. Hey, next treat's going to be in Nashville. That's going to be RecFest in Nashville, September 12th and 13th. We will be at the Shaker Recruitment Green Room, the RecFest Green Room, where, yes, we're going to be surrounded by alcohol and snacks. I get that. But we're also going to be the place where the speakers come in either before or after and have a little chat with us about their talk. So we're really excited about that. And then we're going to be hosting a VIP event with great people, HireClicks and JobPixel at the end of day one at your favorite place, Joel, the Redneck Riviera. More info as we get closer. If you don't have tickets, go to chadcheese.com/events. Big register in the header image. Just click it, register, and we will see you in Nashville. This will be a fucking awesome event.
That's right, Chad. And while they're registering, they should subscribe to our YouTube channel. Guys, we have a face for podcasting and we have a face for YouTubing, believe it or not. That's right. Come to youtube.com/@ChadCheese. Click the subscribe button. We got some exclusives. We got some treats. We got, fake backing of chairs. If you're not watching, you won't see that. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and be on the lookout as well, Chad. It's that time of year. That's right. Fantasy football is right around the corner, and our friends at Factory Fix are sponsoring their third season of the show. Dina Perro is hoping to repeat as the champion. It hasn't been done yet. Should be the first one to ever do that. So be on the lookout for that. Fantasy football is right around the corner thanks to our friends at Factory Fix. Topics. Okay, I think this was over maybe some pork and calamari there in Portugal. Chad's got something new that he threw at us this week. Chad, tell us what we're going to do today.
Yeah, so we're going to end up on a specific note. We'll get there. You'll know where we're going to be heading. But on our way there, we have a shit ton of tech to talk about this week. I am excited about this, but we've got so much that we've got to get through it, and we've got to get through it fast. Mm-hmm. So I thought, why not, between Joel and myself, call this news and each piece of it either a Big Mac, meaning that it's big, and or a nothing burger. So Joel's going to go through. He's going to give us kind of like a little synopsis of it. I'm going to give my interpretation of it, whether it's a Big Mac or a nothing burger. Joel's going to do the same thing. And then we're going to rinse and repeat as we go through. But we have a lot of news, so let's hit it.
All right. So just to summarize here, if it's good, it's a Big Mac. Or if it's going to mean something, it's a Big Mac. If it's like nothing to see here.
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Then it's a nothing burger. Okay, I get it. Yes. I get it. Let's start with our favorite whipping boy, Indeed. They plan to charge $3 per API call starting in September of this year, where they had been charging $0 previously. This affects how companies will post jobs on the platform. Chad, is this a Big Mac or a nothing burger?
Well, this to me is a nothing burger, and here's why.
So you get nothing. You lose.
Jim Durbin, over writing for the AIM Group, wrote, quote, paying for an API is not new. In comparison, on OpenAI, an API call currently costs about 0.03 cents per call, while Google API calls are closer to 0.001 cents per call, end quote. The question is it more expensive because Indeed has old, crusty, and rusty tech? It costs more to drive an old car, so maintenance and parts are more expensive when you're driving a 1976 Chevette, or is Indeed just grasping at revenue straws here? Their traffic takes a big hit. Traffic means clicks. Clicks mean revenue, plus new products like CPSA get shut down while they're now pivoting into staffing. So maybe they're just grasping at straws. Both could be true. Nevertheless, customers might whine, but they will pay Indeed's 1976 Chevette tax, which is why it's a nothing burger for me.
All right. It's also a nothing burger for your boy here as well.
Get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
How great is that movie, by the way? How many good things came out of 1971? I'm telling. All right. So tell me you're desperate without telling me you're desperate. This is a money grab as far as I'm concerned. Indeed is basically saying, if you're not paying us, you're going to pay us. And if you're not paying us very much, you're going to pay us more, because if you pay more, then you get this thing dismissed, right? Where it gets potentially Big Mac-ish is in the sticker shock that could happen. Remember when they launched, what was it, cost per interested job seeker or whatever it was, and we had small businesses paying like $7,000 and getting sticker shock and passing out by how high the fees were, like
versus $300.
There could be a sticker shock situation where someone goes, "Holy hell, look at this bill I just got from Indeed," and at that point, the industry gets pissed off, and then they have to backtrack, and then they have to apologize and whatever. So hopefully they've learned that lesson. This feels a lot more like nickel and diming than it does like whacking people over the head with a Louisville Slugger. So for me, like, until I see more, this is not a Big Mac. It is a nothing burger. Let's go to ZipRecruiter as our next contestant. They've introduced what they're calling some new tools. That's right. They're touting a more intuitive search function, personalized job recommendations, and AI assistance for creating resumes. But wait, Chad, that's not more. Can I interest you in more detailed pay information on jobs, enhanced job previews, and new text alert options for job postings? Chad, ZipRecruiter's new tools, Big Mac or nothing burger?
This is a nothing burger, easily.
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
So, dude, you didn't even mention the best part. They're doubling down on Phil. Oh my God. Fuck Phil already, okay? Get Phil out of here. ZipRecruiter had a chance before IPO and everything going to shit. They were delivering somewhat qualified and interested candidates, but if they had moved closer to understanding the actual qualifications and certifications of the people in their database, while limiting the number of qualified candidates they provided, they would be kicking Indeed's ass right now. This is literally just slapping a little AI on fucking Phil. That's it.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
All right, I hate to agree with you, Chad, but yes, this is a nothing burger.
Nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
So most of the things on this list, I would call an AI layup. It's going to be something that we just expect to happen. It's not a enhanced tool that we're giving people. I think it's time to kill Phil. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the dude is dorky. The dude welcomes everyone that goes to ZipRecruiter. It's just kind of stupid. He's been around for years now, and it's not like changing the course of the company. So Phil may have to take a back seat to whatever's going on. To me, I want to talk about SMS alerts. Okay. If you think email alerts for jobs is annoying, can I interest you in some text alerts for jobs, for new jobs? Yeah, not so much. I know that people will opt into this. I'm curious as to if it will be the default and people have to uncheck it And it if they kind of trick people into doing it. I know our friends at Next, formerly Beyond, were really early on the text opting in and got a lot of people to do it really early when it was kind of cool and sort of novel. I think I think that is played for them, and I think this is eventually going to be played for ZipRecruiter. If you're looking for a job, text alerts are fine. Once you've got a job, you don't want alerts every day on a regular basis about jobs. People are going to opt out of this in mass. They're going to report this to whatever service they're using. They're going to have to deal with how many opt-outs. People are reporting abuse. It's going to be a pain in the ass if they have a short code or a phone number. Anyway, I think the text alerts thing is an absolute shit show and an absolute awful decision. This is not going to change the course of ZipRecruiter's inevitable downfall to close to zero on the stock price, which is where it's going, by the way. This is a nothing burger. Chad, let's get to our next contestant, shall we? Indeed, ZipRecruiter. Well, we got to follow that up with LinkedIn, don't we? LinkedIn is updating its job listing guidelines for third-party sites sending jobs to the platform. The guidelines emphasize the need for accurate, real, and current job postings with specific requirements for data fields, company representation, and job title accuracy. Good luck with that. LinkedIn is getting tough, Chad. They're getting tough on those guidelines. Big Mac or nothing burger at LinkedIn?
A Big Mac, believe it or not. This is a Big Mac, please. Okay, so many of the guidelines are common, and they really just filter out scam sites like The Ladders and stop aggregators from resharing jobs, which only introduces more duplicate postings. But here are the ones that actually stood out, and here's where the Big Mac comes in. Item number 2, bullet 3. The company name must accurately represent the employer as on the source listing of the job and must not hide the employer name, which means you can't use confidential. This means staffing companies will have to disclose the name of the company they are hiring for because they must, quote, accurately represent the employer, end quote, and, quote, confidential is not permitted, end quote. Here's the kicker. Okay, so, well, first off, that's a problem. Staffing companies are going to have an issue with that. There's going to have to be probably some work and massage around that, or they're not going to get staffing company money, and that's a lot of cash. Then we get to the kicker, which is item number 17. Beginning in August 2024, certain third-party jobs may no longer be visible on LinkedIn when they are ingested as basic jobs or limited listings for third-party sources such as applicant tracking systems and job boards, end quote, which is counter to number 9, okay, which states, quote, the application process must lead you directly to the source of the job listing, end quote, which is on the applicant tracking system. So that's the applicant tracking system, you fucking idiots. Staffing companies seem to be fucked, but ATS companies are semi-fucked. I mean, unless we find out what's actually happening here. What the actual fuck LinkedIn is doing, they need to get their shit together because they're going to lose a ton of revenue from a staffing standpoint. Maybe they don't care. But on the other side, are ATSs allowed? Are they not allowed? Because specifically, point 17 says not allowed, which doesn't make any fucking sense.
You done messed up, Aaron!
I love that you had time to read all these points for LinkedIn. I was in a hot tub last night drinking Crown Royal because I'm in Canada. So I'm glad that you did the research that I clearly could not. So I'm gonna. You gave this one a Big Mac. I'm gonna go.
So you get
nothing burger.
Nothing. You lose.
Okay.
Good day, sir.
And here's why. What is LinkedIn's history of solid execution on a good idea? Yeah, here's a hint. Not very good. No, it's not very good, Chad. So as well-meaning as this may be, as logical as it may be, as sound of an idea as it may be, LinkedIn does not have a great track record of good execution. So I just don't see any of this stuff happening. I think it's a great press release. Microsoft had their fingers on this a little bit. So I I have no faith.
60% of the time,
No faith.
it works every time.
That LinkedIn is going to get this right. And speaking of Microsoft having their hands in something, let's get to something totally different. SearchGPT. That's right. OpenAI has introduced a prototype search engine called SearchGPT. This move positions OpenAI to potentially challenge Google's dominance in search, which is roughly 90% of the market, by the way. The secret weapon, you might ask, natural and conversational interactions. It's currently being tested on a select group of users. Chad, Big Mac or nothing burger? SearchGPT.
Yeah, another Big Mac. Another Big Mac.
One Big Mac, please.
Not because OpenAI's search will overtake Google's search anytime soon, but because this will force Google to do more than use cute little AI generated summaries of a search. Google hasn't pushed the boundaries of Gen AI in search because it's all about the revenue model. They get paid on clicks, and if people aren't clicking because the user receives the answer without clicking on anything, well, no click, no revenue. Now, Google definitely saw this coming, so behind the scenes, I guarantee you they have created several models that align with their current pay-per-click model, and also models that move away from pay-per-click. No matter, once again, we're seeing OpenAI force Google's hand. That's a Big Mac.
That is a Big Mac. And I too, Chad,
One Big Mac, please.
am getting hungry in your new game, and I'm going to have a snack before we record next time. But yes, this is a Big Mac. Look, historically, going after Google is basically replicating Google. Now that we're talking about Microsoft, most of us remember or maybe have used Bing accidentally. When you come at Google with the same product, basically, it's like you're going to lose because Google has a better product. However, with GPT stuff, conversational AI, getting the answers you want immediately and not having to click to different websites to find the answer, tells me that search is different now. How people consume content now is changing. People are looking for different ways to get answers to questions. I certainly am evident of that myself. I tend to go to an AI to say, like, what's the weather, or who founded anything I want. I can get the answer. I don't have to click through links. So the big issue to me as well is Apple is clearly sort of getting in bed with OpenAI, and their new Apple Intelligence is going to be driven by OpenAI, and ultimately the search function on Safari currently has Google, DuckDuckGo, Bing, and other search engines, which they're all the same as Google. But if you can choose SearchGPT and have that be my default search engine, then all of a sudden 1 billion iPhone users that are searching on Safari are now seeing chat or SearchGPT answers as opposed to Google answers. That is a real interesting dilemma for Google to figure out. It could be a death by 1,000 cuts. Remember, just a 10% decrease in Google's search dominance, that's billions of dollars. So is Google done? Absolutely not. Could they go from 90 to 75%? Yes, they can. And if that happens, that is definitely a double Big Mac based on Chad and I's analysis.
One Big Mac, please.
Let's take a quick break and we'll play a little more Big Mac or Nothing Burger. Let's go back to LinkedIn with a little dash of Pinterest and TikTok, shall we? Social media platforms such as Pinterest, TikTok, and LinkedIn are trying a new tack to gain bigger share of digital advertising, getting news outlets and other publishers to help them sell. Pinterest, for instance, is testing a new program through which publishers would be able to sell ads on their Pinterest pages using an ad auction system. Chad, is this a Big Mac or a nothing burger?
I think for Pinterest, it's a Big Mac, and for LinkedIn, it's a nothing burger.
Oh,
there's two entirely different. They're separate models. Separate models.
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Way to confuse the listeners, Chad.
Owned by
Both of
Meta. Very, very easy though. Pinterest owned by Meta. Meta knows how to monetize and they know how to get results. LinkedIn, face it, kids, LinkedIn's ads, they don't perform. So companies that sell into LinkedIn, well, it's going to be short-lived as those ads won't perform and they won't come back. The marketing world's going to see this as an advertising spend wasteland. So until LinkedIn builds a more robust infrastructure and they can do basics like, I don't know, use my data that they have to get me, I don't know, matched to relevant fucking jobs, I don't think they can actually scan my content and posts to better understand and target me with traditional advertising. So for LinkedIn, definitely a nothing burger.
So I'm going to go nothing burger on this one.
You lose. Good day, sir.
I took you back in time with the Howard Dean campaign, and I'm going to take you back in time to a company called Adster. Adster, yes, in the days when blogs were cool. Adster was a service where you would put code on your site and then people could put banner ads on your blog and you would have a system where go to Adster to buy and then they would process the payment and give you the cut. I don't think it was an auction-based service, but similar idea. Well, Google's AdSense came out and bloggers realized, well, I could just put Google's code on there instead of Adster and just get paid on clicks, and Google's really good at paying me on time, and Adster eventually faded away. So this idea of like banner ads on different areas and auctioning and expecting that people know what the hell the ad is going to look like. Is it text-based, which works, but nobody likes text anymore. Expecting people to create banner ads is like weird now. Chad's making me make a banner ad here soon for HR Grapevine, and I'm in the fetal position because I don't remember like what banner ads should look like and what the sizes and everything, like leaderboard and oh my God. So ads today are like video, and you got to have like hip TikTok videos that don't look like commercials. And so like advertising is really challenging to think that people are just going to get away from the duopoly of Google and Meta and auction off for ads and like think about which gets most traffic, what's the audience for this thing. Like it's too complicated. It's too much. People like simple. And for that reason, this is getting a big nothing burger from me.
Nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
All right, let's go to Oracle. Oh my God, have we talked about Oracle on the show in a while? Oracle HCM now allows candidates to apply directly to openings from job seeker profiles on major job boards such as LinkedIn and Indeed. Chad, nothing burger or Big Mac?
Nothing burger.
Ooh.
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
So making the application process easier isn't always a good thing, especially when you have bots applying to thousands of jobs instantaneously, or you allow just a shit ton of unqualified candidates just to flood, the system. Oracle should have prioritized job sites creating a standard user verification process before making this move. This is like putting 100,000 carts before a one slow-moving Oracle horse. Oracle's press release talks about candidate experience, but what about recruiter experience? There needs to be a balance. And this feels like Oracle's already famous recruiter hellscape experience is gonna get worse.
Oh, I was going down that road, Chad, but I switched it up.
Big Mac, please.
Again, maybe because I'm getting hungry, but I flipped it to Big Mac. I mean, we've been talking for decades about how ATSs need to get on the easy apply train because it takes 45 minutes to apply to jobs. It's a pain in the ass, et cetera. Now, to your point of, automation now makes it really challenging to like put the gate up and make it more restrictive for people to apply. And something like Easy Apply makes automated applies that much easier. And now, Mr. and Mrs. Employer, you get to deal with the tsunami of resumes and applicants that come through your door. But I couldn't help but say how hypocritical it would be for me to say, like, the apply process sucks on ATSs, but then give this a nothing burger because of the automation piece. Companies are going to have to get better at pre-screening. ATSs are going to have to get better with, I don't know, CAPTCHAs, or how do I like, something's a bot, something isn't. And it may be as old school as like going back to CAPTCHAs or something, but like, we can get better at policing the bots and the human beings, but I've still got to be for making it easier to apply. And I also think that a big name like Oracle, if this fucking Titanic of a company is making this change, it's going to force smaller companies, I think, to make a similar change, or at least make it easier to pitch the idea to the higher ups that we should do it because Oracle can do it. So a little bit of disagreement, but I'm going to go
One Big Mac, please.
Big Mac on this one. Well, from Oracle to New Zealand, for God's sakes. Finally, after 7+ years of recording, we can finally talk about the economic juggernaut that is New Zealand and Seek's market share in the Kiwi country. Well, job advertisements on Seek New Zealand experienced a significant year-on-year decline of 35% in June. Monthly figures also indicated a general decline in job ads across all regions and industries. Chad, is the New Zealand news a Big Mac or a nothing burger?
So this is a Big Mac, and I'll tell you why.
One Big Mac, please.
Got to think of this and on the macro sense, and especially for many job sites that are outside of the U.S. So job advertisements on, in this case, and we're going to use this as kind of like a microcosm of the whole. So job advertisements on the job board there in Seek were down 35%, which means their revenue was down, but their traffic ticked up slightly. The duration-based job posting revenue model is fucking Seek at this point. And all other companies still using that 1995 duration-based model. All regions in New Zealand, year-over-year average decline in job ads, comparing June of 2023 to 2024. Marlborough region saw 50% decline in job ads. Wellington, 46% decline, and Southland saw the smallest decline at 18%. Now, if the traffic stayed the same, and it actually ticked up a bit, those job seekers would still be clicking on jobs. And if Seek had a performance-driven model in place, they wouldn't have seen the type of revenue hit that they saw. 35%, that much drop when you're paying duration-based, it's hitting your bottom line. So it's big because, again, it's exposing old revenue models that need to be put out to pasture. This is big for the entire industry. And even though it's little bitty New Zealand and a microcosm for the macro, this means a lot for the entire job site ecosystem.
You're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe?
So in my notes on this one, I didn't put what I was going to grade it because I wanted to hear what you had to say. And frankly, I'm not an expert in New Zealand economics. So I did a little research on New Zealand. They have fewer than 6 million people living in New Zealand. So it's basically smaller than Chicago. I'm going to guess Seek is the number one site because they're the number one site in Australia, and New Zealand is more or less an Australian island, from what I can tell. They're not a very diversified economy, which gives me pause to say that this is a canary in the coal mine, which is what I'm hearing from you, that this is evidence of what could be on a global scale of a duration-based ads getting hit. My pause is simply that New Zealand does not have a very diverse economy. It's basically, they're big in dairy farms. I didn't know this. I had to look it up. Dairy farms, their biggest companies are a mobile payments company, and their airport is literally one of their biggest companies in like the Auckland airport. So we're not, to me, if we were looking at a microcosm of potentially the world in terms of industries, maybe the canary in the coal mine works for me. I think the jury is still out in terms of, is this a bigger picture, bigger play? New Zealand for me just doesn't get me excited. It does not quite go deep enough, Chad. So for me, I'm not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe. This one for me is a nothing burger.
Nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Yeah, 250 billion in GDP. Indiana has double that in GDP, by the way. Indiana.
I'm in Canada with like 35 million people in a country as big as America. So what the hell do I know? But I do know beer. So let's talk about beer when we come back from the break.
Let's do it.
LinkUp is the leading provider of deep, accurate, and actionable labor market data. Unique in that we only get job listings from the one source of truth, the employer's website. By going to the source, we avoid all the duplicate and expired job listings that plague job boards and thereby other job data sets. Our data offers the clearest window into employers of all types and sizes throughout the world for an ever-growing number of use cases and applications.
Keep your hands off my Heine, baby. That's a horrible Austin Powers impression. But anyway, let's talk about beer, Chad. Heineken is blaming a rainy Euro football tournament and a slowing Chinese market for its recent decline in sales, which sent shares down 7%. Chad, you're a big fan of the football. I know you watch the Euros. What are your thoughts on a sagging Heine?
Yeah, to me, it's shitty beer. I mean, we have so many options now, and this is the biggest problem. This is what we're seeing with some of the standards, like, you know, Busch and Budweiser and all the ones that were around. They're just shitty beers compared to the selection that we have now. Even here, I went to a beer festival 2 weekends ago, craft beer festival here in Portugal, and it was only Portuguese craft beer. It was great beer. If that would have been 5 years ago, it would have been shitty beer. And there would probably only been two. And there were like, 15 different microbrews that were there. So this is what's killing the Heinekens of the world. And the only time I ever have a Heineken is when I'm forced to, like tonight, after I play an hour and a half of paddle, I'll go to the clubhouse. And the only thing that they have on tap is Heineken. So I will have one.
60% of the time, it works every time.
So a couple of those beers, Chad, that you mentioned in the Heineken portfolio include Dos Equis, Murphy's, Newcastle, and Tiger. If you're ever in Asia, Tiger is very popular with the kids and at the restaurant. So
have it here. Yeah.
I'm always cautious when a public company blames sort of a niche event or something weird as the reason as to why profits have fallen. I remember Snapchat back in February literally blaming the Middle East conflict for their poor advertising numbers. Like they need to grab on these sort of micro trends or micro events as opposed to saying, you know what, on a macro level, our business is challenged and here's why. They want to have like these little, they want these, look, don't look over there, look over here. It's the soccer. It's China. It's the Middle East. That's what's having an impact on business. The fact is, Chad, fewer young people in particular are choosing to drink alcohol. Around a third of people 18 to 24 apparently don't drink alcohol at all, which may have something to do with the decline in sex with young people. Maybe it's just me. But alcohol does tend to lead to, lubricated activities, if you will. So to me, I'm worried for beer in general. I think fewer kids, fewer young people are drinking. They're on the THC. They're doing the weed. They're doing like the gummies, and they're doing things that, let's be honest, are probably a little healthier for them. You don't feel like shit in the morning. The trend is against beer, and old guys like us still love it, and we're still buying it in bulk. Now, we have a little bit of money, so we don't have to buy Heineken and Dos Equis. We can get the good local shit, which is what we're doing, which means bad news for the Heinekens of the world. If you don't have young people that don't have money not buying your crappy shit, and older people with money are buying better stuff, you're sort of stuck in the middle with nowhere to go. So this isn't football. This isn't China. This is a macro decline, I think, in the amount of booze being consumed. Humanity is doomed. I don't know. Would you give this a Big Mac or a nothing burger in terms of news?
No, it's definitely a Big Mac, and we were seeing a change.
One Big Mac, please.
And that being said, the end
Thank
story,
you for that
which is there it is, the end story, which actually brings the two buns together.
Oh, but it's not good news for McDonald's. McDonald's reported a 1% decline in sales, making its first sales decline in 13 quarters. The company attributed the slump to consumers opting for cheaper food options. What the hell are cheaper food options? They didn't really go into that in the story. Chad, put down your caviar and your fancy IPA and let us know what you think of a slumping McDonald's.
Yeah. So, I mean, wait a minute. Wasn't McDonald's the place that you could go eat cheaper than eating at home? I mean, if you check out macrotrends.net, you will see that McDonald's profits, their profit margins, are at an all-time high. So they're basically saying we got so goddamn greedy by raising prices and pumping up our margins that we priced out our core audience. Plus, I think this is big too. This from CNBC, quote, a higher popular group of weight loss and diabetes drugs is decreasing some consumers' appetites and also how much they spent on food. 61% spent less on takeout, 63% spent less at dining at restaurants, which are the same damn businesses. Yeah. So drugs like Wegovy, Ozempic, Zepbound, and Mounjaro are helping Americans curb their weight and spend less, which is good for everyone except rich executives with multi-million-dollar comp packages that work at fast food joints.
Well, we'll never fear, Chad, because the $5 meal deal is back, and it is sexy. That's right. For $5, you can get that burger, nugget, fries. Like they got the whole. It's pretty nice. I think that I'm not too scared about McDonald's. You raise a really good point with the weight loss drugs, and if at some point, which I think everyone thinks that insurance will pay for these drugs just from a diabetes, whatever, like that will happen to where insurance pays for this stuff. And when that happens, holy hell, sell your fast food stocks, kids, because if the average Joe can get weight loss drugs like the rich folk do now, it's going to impact fast food in a big way. So in the short term, the $5 meal deal is all good. I don't think we have to worry about McDonald's going under. I'm definitely not a buyer of the stock. Not that we give stock tips on the show, but going back to beer, Chad, a quick note to the PSA to the kids: don't drink and drive. Okay, that's not smart. Which brings us to our dad joke of the week, Chad. Are you ready?
Yeah. You just need to slip in the dad jokes. Now I gotta. No, I'm not ready. But go ahead. Okay,
I know you're excited. All right, Chad. Okay. What do you call it? What do you call it when a dinosaur crashes his car? What do you call it when a dinosaur crashes his car?
But they might need rhinoplasty after the accident. I don't know.
Tyrannosaurus Rex. Get it? Rex. Tyrannosaurus Rex.
That was great.
Nothing burger or Big Mac. We out.
We out.
Thank you for listening to, what's it called? A podcast. The Chad. The Cheese. Brilliant. They talk about recruiting. They talk about technology. But most of all, they talk about nothing. Just a lot of shout-outs of people you don't even know. And yet you're listening. It's incredible. And not one word about cheese. Not one. Cheddar. Blue, nacho, pepper jack, Swiss. So many cheeses and not one word. So weird. Anywho, be sure to subscribe today on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. That way you won't miss an episode. And while you're at it, visit www.chadcheese.com. Just don't expect to find any recipes for grilled cheese. It's so weird. We out!